Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm so glad you could tune in today. We are live here on the 25th day of June, 2014, 8 a.m. Eastern here at Blog Talk Radio. The show is called Attitude of Gratitude, and my name is Annette Rochelle Aben. I'm your host. We've also got great music you can hear that brings our show in and takes our show out each time. It comes from award-winning artist David Martinka. You can find his music in a couple different places. You can check him out at redbellymusic.com. as well as sunshadows.net. And I do hope that you go and visit those sites so that you can find the great downloads. You can also find the wonderful music that is available for purchase there. David is just a hugely talented man, and I happen to know he's in the process right now of putting together another album. So that's going to be available very shortly. Alrighty then. Titled the program today, Supportive Attitudes or Affirmations and an Attitude of Gratitude, for a couple different reasons. The first is, I don't know about you, but almost every moment of every day, you hear about someone that's really struggling. They're having just the most incredibly wonky, for lack of a better word to use, time with their life. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all bad. Sometimes they're in the middle of planning a wedding. Sometimes they're in anticipation of a baby on the way. Now, because those are things we usually think of as very, very positive, happy, and upbeat. So people needing support, it's not just because they're in a financial crisis or in a health crisis, not because of a crisis is what I'm trying to say. It can also be for something very, very positive. They're starting a new job. They just got their first car. They're going for their driver's license test. Again, these are things we usually associate with happy stress in a way, because these are things we want to have happen. We want to get married. We want to have the baby. We want to get the new car. We want the new job. We want the new house. We want to build a house. You know, I've actually had the opportunity to do several of those things. And let me tell you, the support that I got from people all around me during the time frames that I was building a house, buying my first car, getting married, going to school, fill in the blank, that it was huge. Support is huge. Now, a lot of times, the people who need your support the most are the ones who are your biggest cheerleaders. Because I want you to think about something. If there's somebody that you turn to on a regular basis to share, some people dump. Some people just want a little chit-chat. Other people, just for the moment, they just need a sounding board. They don't need any response. They just need somebody to talk to. That person or those people who are there for you on such a regular basis, they are supporting you. So they're supporting you in such a way that it isn't necessarily, how do I want to phrase it? You wouldn't necessarily see it that way. In other words, somebody just listening to you is offering support. Somebody who gives you a hug is offering support. Somebody that hands you a $20 bill is offering you support. It comes in so many different ways and has so many alleged disguises that it doesn't always seem that we see it that way. But when I'm talking supportive affirmations, I'm talking about the words that we say to people. You know, I learned a long time ago, and I think there are times I'm still learning it. So if I do this to any of you that are listening that talk to me or seek me out for mentorship, guidance, and support, which you can do at my website, AnnetteRochelleAben.wordpress.com, and I do encourage you to do that because it's one of the things I do. But in any case, one of the things that I learned years and years ago, I was in charge of a television studio. I had been in charge of overseeing the creation of this. It was a huge undertaking, and it was my role. It was my job. It was what I was hired to do. And one day, a group of people in the control room were having problems with some of the equipment, and I'm walking past them to go to another room, to the edit suite, and one of them said, "Hey, Annette, can you help us with this?" And they were pointing at one of the boards, and something wasn't working. And I looked and immediately understood what was wrong and just walked over and went boop, 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 pressed 3 buttons, and their whole problem was cleared up. And they just stared at me like I was some kind of goddess or something, like, oh, my gosh, you figured that out. Well, later, the gal who was, for lack of a better term, my secretary, she was my right arm, came to me and she said, that was really amazing what you did. But basically what you did was you kept us dependent on you, because now when that problem surfaces again, we're not going to know how to fix it. We're going to have to run and find you. She goes, better you would have taught us how to do it than shown us. Okay, so did I really offer support at that time? Not necessarily. I got them out of their bind, and they were in the middle of, time was precious. So I thought, rather than go through this big explanation and take them through the guess what, I just did it, and it was done. A couple other times during that time frame in my life, which was well over 20 years ago, people would come to me with things they wanted to talk about, and I would immediately give them the solution. Okay? Now, granted, that's what I did in the physical, but I'm talking about with my words. I would take them right from whatever they were going through to, bang, here's how it's going to get fixed. Now, that wasn't really supportive either. I thought it was. But again, it left them dependent on something outside of themselves to find what it was they were looking for. So when I talk about being supportive, sometimes when you are giving support, it needs to come in the form of allowing that person to still work through it, but maybe giving them something to think about, maybe providing them with an option or an opportunity to just feel secure and know that with your words that they're taking in, they're going to calm down. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody calms down, the solution appears. But it's when we're in that frenetic, I don't know, we're not open to anything. So when I talk about supportive affirmations, the thought process here is, what can you do to support that person in their search, their journey, their discovery of what it is they need? Perhaps the greatest thing you can say to somebody is, it's going to be okay. It'll be okay. That's a supportive affirmation. And here's the really crazy thing. You don't have to know how it's going to be okay. You don't even have to know that you can do anything to make it okay. If they're having the issue, it's not up to you to make their issue okay. It's up to them to do what they have to do to connect with the okay. So one of the biggest things I find with people in a lot of cases is when they're delivering supportive affirmations, they think that that means that they have to deliver a solution. And with the examples I just gave you about how it backfired on me, and really didn't backfire. I mean, we got the situation taken care of, but it really didn't help them in the long run. Because, again, they didn't necessarily get the support they needed. They just got a temporary Band-Aid. And Band-Aids are meant to come off and be thrown away. So some supportive affirmations, it's going to be okay. That's a huge one. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Because in essence, they are. I mean, if there is really a life and death situation where somebody's about to walk right off the edge of a bridge, and you're standing there and you grab them, like a little kid who's going to walk off somewhere, like off the edge of a porch, and you reach out and grab the suspenders on the back of their little breeches that they're wearing, and you stop them from going head first off the edge of that porch, that's different. That child's not looking for supportive affirmation. That child's looking for crisis intervention. There's a big difference. But when you're being supportive, those words that you say, you're doing fine. It's going to be okay. Here's another one. I believe in you. I believe in you. I trust you. I know you've made the right decision. Now, remember, affirmations are a statement of truth. And sometimes we're making these statements of truth, and our conscious mind and our subconscious mind are not quite in sync yet. So if you're saying something to yourself like, I'm beautiful, and you really don't believe that, the more you say it, the more you convince yourself you're doing it. Your higher consciousness knows you're beautiful, but your waking consciousness looks in the mirror and goes, that's not my idea of beautiful. Bah. But you keep saying, look in the eyes, look yourself in the eyes, I am beautiful. So you're making a statement that your subconscious or your higher consciousness knows to be true. Your waking consciousness will grasp it when you say it often enough. Same with the supportive affirmations. That person who is not necessarily convinced that this is all that in a bag of chips will hear you, but they might not really get it. So you might find yourself repeating that supportive affirmation over and over again. Like every time they say, oh, my gosh, I'm not really sure about this or I'm not really sure about that, you can remind them, support them, put that statement of truth, that affirmation out. You're doing good. You're doing great. You're doing great. You can say to them things like, you've come so far. You've come so far. And my favorite, when we're adding that, you're doing great, you've come so far, and then kind of rounding it out, you have really changed your life for the better. Now, I know that seems silly, like, you're doing great, you've come so far, so the response would be, you've got it. You've got it. You've got it. You've got this. These are all wonderfully supportive affirmations that I don't care who we are. I don't care who we are and what our circumstances would be. We need that. We need that connection. We need that cheerleading in some capacity. We need to hear those words. So if you don't have somebody out there that's saying them for you or to you, you need to start saying them to yourself. You need to look at what you're doing, whatever you're doing. I have another book that's about ready to come out, okay? So they're like, oh, my gosh, the other one just came out like a month or so ago. It's like, that's true. But my goal was to publish 12 books this year, and I've only published one so far. But I have another book that's ready to come out, and I've been working on it tirelessly for the last couple of days. And the crazy thing about it is, every now and then I would stop at a certain point that I had to stop because I just couldn't type anymore. And I said to myself, you're doing great. You're doing great. You've almost got this. This is almost done. You've got this. You've got this. And I would say that to myself because I needed to hear it. Because when you're writing, that's a very private thing. There aren't a bunch of people around. In fact, it'll throw your concentration. Take it from somebody that's been a published author for 40 years. You need, to be in a different space. So there wasn't necessarily everybody around me to kind of bolster me and cheer me on. Kind of like when you're running a marathon. There are people at various places that will cheer you on and let you know you're doing good. But the crazy thing about it is there are stretches, long stretches of that marathon where there isn't anybody there. So supportive affirmations are not only things that you need to hear from other people or will want to hear from other people, but they are also things that you will need and want to say to yourself. Because at those stretches on that marathon, when there doesn't seem to be anybody else around and you can't see another human being except maybe another runner, somewhere along the line you have to tap in to that inner friend that will give you those supportive words and help you carry on. Because there isn't always going to be that other voice sitting there. There isn't always going to be that other person ready to deliver a supportive affirmation. So remember, you got this. You're doing great. You have come so far. You really have this figured out. I am just so happy for you. And it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. Your supportive affirmations, remember those. Be grateful that you know somebody today that you're going to be able to share a supportive affirmation with. Be grateful that you're going to be able to share a supportive affirmation with somebody that you come into contact with, even if that somebody is you. Give yourself a good, supportive talking to. Give yourself that truth that your higher consciousness knows, but your waking consciousness might be vacillating a little bit. And I promise you, you will have just the most incredible day. Because it's not just an incredible feeling to receive a supportive affirmation. It's an awesome feeling to give a supportive affirmation. And we ask you to give some support to the wonderful man that created our music for this program, the award-winning artist David Martinka. Find him at sunshadows.net and redbellymusic.com. Support this program by following us on Blog Talk, blogtalkradio.com/perspectivepower, and on Facebook, facebook.com/perspectivepower. I can normally say that. Annette Rochelle Aben, you can find me everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest, Facebook, and I am also available at AnnetteRochelleAben.wordpress.com. That is my website. Attitude of Gratitude, live here on Wednesdays, 8 a.m. Eastern. You've got this.